Hello. Wow. What's up? Good. Hello, Tom, Scott, Mr. Lopan. How's it going? James, happy Friday. Happy Pi Day. I think my audio is working correctly. I forgot to close the door, so keep the noise out. Whistling? Hi. I didn't realize you guys got that. Yeah, I whistle every once in a while. Hi, Anthony. Andreas, I think. Andreas. Hello. Bob, Scott, again, hello. Audio's good? Awesome. Perfect. I've gone back to my other microphone, which is surprisingly a cheaper microphone that just plugs directly into a USB instead of going through my Focusrite. So, but it works a little bit better, I think. It's also easier for me to fix the levels on it. Give people, I know there's like 10 or 12 of you guys already in here, but we'll give people a little bit of extra time. We'll see if people show up late, seeing as how everybody else did daylight savings time, and we are still the same over here. Time doesn't change in Arizona. Hey, Retro fan. Okay. All right. I'll give it a couple more minutes, I guess. We're technically 3:01, but might get some stragglers coming in. I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Turn that off. Show off some pens. Give some shop updates. Trying to think what else. Is that Zach? Slow? Is I think. Like I said, I don't have a ton of stuff to go over today. Probably, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it leads. Maybe give an update on some prototyping stuff with the new pen. All right, let's get things started. Happy Friday. Happy Pi Day. Today is also my daughter turns 22 today. So happy birthday to my kiddo. It's good to be here. I've been working like crazy on the new website and all kinds of random stuff. So I'm kind of a little bit frazzled. But that I think is normal for me. It feels like by the time Friday comes around and we actually sit down to do a live stream, I feel pretty darn frazzled. I'm ready for the weekend, even though I work on Friday and on Saturday and Sunday. A little bit. Basically, I work a little bit on Friday, or a little bit on Saturday, a little bit on Sunday. I still get enough time off to kind of regroup, but right now I'm on the struggle bus a little bit. Okay, so as always, the comment in the top is the giveaway. Looks like a bunch of you've already signed up. You're following. You've found the right path to go down to complete your entry into the giveaway. So we're gonna give away a couple pens. We'll go ahead and jump right into things. Talk about what do I want to talk about first? I'm trying to think. I feel like I had like unfinished business to talk about from last month. Now I'm drawing a blank. Hi, Eric. Now I can't remember. Shoot. Well, we'll just talk about some releases. We have like 3 or 4 releases scheduled over the next like 10 days or so. Some of them are going to be direct to. One of them is going to be Pen Club exclusive. Talked about it in the email. We're going to show it off here. I was not showing the basic pen. I was talking about the basic pen. We'll do an update about the basic pen at the end of the live stream. As much of an update as I feel comfortable to give at this point in time. I don't know. I talked about it last time. So we've got, like I said, 3 or 4 different releases scheduled for the next like 10 days. One is going to be a Pen Club exclusives, and that's going to be the Sunflower Yellow ink fountain pen. First fountain pen exclusive that we've done this year. And then they'll also get early access to the Sunflower Yellow Hive Bolt and the standard EDK in those same colors. Got them back. They look awesome. Had a problem with 2 of the pens, so there's like 2 fewer of the bolts than I sent out because 2 of them got damaged during Cerakote. So that one's going to be pretty small, less than 20 pens total. So if you're not in the pen club and that's one that you want, I'll show them off here in a minute. We've got some red and black EDKs coming. I think I showed that off last month. No, I don't know if I did or not. Anyway, yeah, we did. We showed off the red and black ones. They're finally assembled all the way. We had some issues with those too, and fewer of those are going to be available than we had sent out because I don't know, there was something wrong with the threads on a bunch of them, so I had to end up scrapping a whole like a quarter of the batch. What other pens? Oh, the updated like regular Ultimodal is coming probably towards the end of next weekend-ish, I think. That's the one that's got it's got grooves kind of similar to the retract or the Render K grip section. If you've seen one of those, it's got like micro grooves on it just to give it a little bit of texture. That whole pen has that same texture on it. We found just in the machining of the outside, if we left some of those little grooves on there, we left it like that, the finish was a lot more uniform and we didn't get as many problems, and it's a little bit grippier. It looks nicer. We actually have some vertexes, some Ultim vertexes with that on it as well. I think the way that it looks is a little bit better if you like the Ultim stuff too. So if you've been on the fence with the Ultim and you're thinking about getting an Ultimodal, I think the upgrade that we've done is nicer, in my opinion. So I don't know, like if you already have an Ultim one, and you like the regular smooth one, that's fine. But the grooves on them, I had one in here and I don't know what happened to it. I think somebody walked off with it. I actually prefer the little speed groove. They're not even speed grooves because that's the other thing. It's just ribbed, like very, very minute, like ribs on there. Or groove. They're not even grooves. I don't know. I don't know what the technical term is for them. I know the process from a machining perspective is basically just you what is it called? How does Josh describe it? Now I'm racking my brain. You go faster, so you feed the bar and run it at speed faster than to get those grooves than you do to get a smooth surface. And it creates those like little tiny bumps. They're just because of it's speeds and feeds as what they're frequently referred to by machinists, which I am not a machinist. But basically, when you go faster on both of the speed and the feeding of the material, it leaves less. You're not taking off as much because it's moving through. So it's as it cuts, it's moving faster. So it's leaving a little bit of definition, basically. And it shows up as like tiny little grooves, as it were. So whereas our standard pens take about 9. He slows it down about 9 thousandths. It's about 9. It's kind of similar, yeah. It's similar to theirs. I think theirs is more pronounced than what we're doing. Theirs is a lot more visible to the eye than ours is. Like if you weren't paying attention to the render K, you wouldn't even notice that they're there. So they're very, very, very minute. But considering that the majority of our stuff is like basically a completely smooth surface, unless we're adding like machining detail. This is a little bit of a differentiation between them. But yeah, it's kind of similar to that. It's the same process that they're doing, the same thing that we're doing. I think they're just doing it even a little bit slower or a little bit faster than we're doing to get even a more definition on theirs. It's more pronounced on the surface of tactile turn pens than it is on ours. And it's really hard to photograph, as my photographer tells me. Our photographer was not happy with having to zoom in on them because the lighting had to change and this had to change, because they're as fine as they are. So yeah, that's coming. We got a couple other things. I'll show off the stuff. We'll go ahead and you don't have to stare at my face while I struggle through remembering all this stuff. We'll go ahead and show off the stuff. So, I was clicking it during the live stream and I did hint at it. So the 3 pens on the left are the Sunflower Cerakote. We've already done the Sunflower with Render Ks. We did a Render K release, and I can't remember what else. I think we've done two batches of the Render K in Sunflower, and they're basically, I think they're all sold out again. So we're going to go ahead and do the ink in fountain pen. That's going to be a Pen Club exclusive. And then this is the standard. We've got the standard EDK with black, and then the Hive Bolt with the black. Sunflower is awesome. I'm really I'm not a huge fan of yellow as a color at all. But this color is really, really nice. Like, it's hard to see in this lighting, but I wanted to show it in this lighting because, like, when I turn off my light, which I guess I'll do and see, it's a little bit dark and not as, and this is not really a true representation with the light off of the color that it is. It's kind of halfway between the two, but there is metallic in it as well. So it's a nice, like, not too bright, not too dark of a yellow. Like, it's not dark moving to gold. It's not too bright where it's like kind of blinding. It's right in that middle realm. but it is really, really nice. And it has a little bit of metallic. There's another yellow, a brand new yellow that Cerakote just released, and we're actually going to get some of that probably at the end of April. We'll test out some pens in that yellow. That yellow, however, is not a metallic. It is just a full, like, I don't want to say gloss because technically they call it a flat color, but it's basically opaque. It doesn't have any metallics in it. The future, I forget the name of it even. It's not Sunflower. It's a new series that takes faster, that dries faster. Okay, moving on to the other pens. So we've got the Thunderhead pocket modal, Hive pocket modal. So if you're familiar with the quote unquote Thunderhead release, it's matte gray with brass and black accents. And that's what this one features on it. If you like the pocket modal, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. It's got the ultra black ones we released a couple weeks ago. This batch has the Hive on it as well. I think this is the second release that we've done with the Hive. Looks really nice, feels really nice. You know, super small profile for those people that want the smallest possible pen for their pocket. This is the smallest pen that we make by far. And then this is Periwinkle Cerakote. So we've had Periwinkle Cerakote in the past a long time ago, and it also has brass on it. Show these off a little bit better. See the brass. It's dragon skin, nice even coat. The Periwinkle also does not have a metallic in it. It is I forget what they describe it as, is like a denim. The description on it is like denim blue. Boy, I'm gonna have to see if I can find the actual description. I looked it up earlier. There we go. Let's see what they call it. Get the actual description that Cerakote officially uses, so I feel like their descriptions are much better at communicating what it actually looks like. Plus, that way, like if people are like, this isn't what it actually looks like, I'm like, look, this is what the manufacturer called it. I'm just going by what they called it. Anyway, while this website loads, and then we finally got some solid olive anodized again. So I wanted to do some olive modals. The last like 3 or 4 batches that we've sent out have not looked very good. Took us forever to get good looking olive anodized on a pen that we could release. So olive dragonskin modal with the offsetting tumbled brass hardware. I think it looks really cool. Olive and brass is one of my favorite color combinations. I think it always looks great together. Personally, I think it looks better than olive and black. I know a lot of people are like, oh no, I like the olive and the matte black. I think the olive and the brass the contrast between those two is just really, really nice. Okay, so Periwinkle Cerakote is described as a deep and vivid shade of royal blue. They rank it a flat 5 on their units scale, which is, I don't know how they rate that because some of them are not very flat. Like if you look at this with the light right now, it looks pretty reflective of the light. It's not like shiny, but it's not a gloss finish at all. So there's another color that we got from them that was rated a flat 1, which I think is their flattest rating, and it was shinier than this is. So I don't know how they do stuff over there. All right, so those are going to be some of the upcoming releases that we have between now and the end of the month. The sunflower stuff will hit the pen club early next week. I don't have a date specifically for it. I'm waiting for photographs of it. Tommy took photos. Took some photos yesterday, but I know that he wasn't happy with the way that a bunch of them, like the color wasn't perfect. He's a stickler on getting the color as close as he can. And while in like with the lighting that he chooses instead of trying to color adjust and post-processing. So I know he wasn't super happy with them. He's going to reshoot some of them. So I don't know specifically when those will be available, but they'll be early-ish next week. So, and then I would imagine the majority of the other three will be slotted in to the week after that. So basically the final week of March, you'd see probably the 2 pocket modals that I just showed off. So olive and copper is really nice as well. If we had copper grips available, or copper clips. If we did copper clips, that would definitely be something that we would do for the modal, but unfortunately we just can't do that with that pen. We've attempted as many different ways to do a copper clip on the modal, and it's just not going to work. However, the next time I have copper modals, the bodies, we will get some olive clips and knobs and buttons for those. That way we'll have the copper and olive in the opposite. Speaking of copper, I do have a batch of, so we put up the Knox, the shipwrecked inks. I do have shipwrecked bolts, some shipwrecked bolts coming in, and I think some shipwrecked EDKs coming in. So if you've been waiting for either of the rollerball options for the Knox shipwreck pens, those should be up at some point next week as well. We're just making sure that they go together full all the way. So if you're a fan of the Knox look, that shipwrecked, the distressed copper, we'll have some bolts and EDKs available next week. Some small batches of those, like nowhere near the size. I think this last time we sent out like 30 or 40 of the inks, which is why we still have quite a few of those available. But I think we're only doing like 15 or 20 of each of the rollerball pens. And Bill took some to the Baltimore Pen Show. So I don't know how many of those he sold at the Baltimore Pen Show. If you are a member of the Pen Club, the next spreadsheet update will probably come towards the end of next week. I'll add some random things and probably take some stuff off. And if you're wondering about the next KVC, we will be doing a KVC. We have plans to do another KVC. G is going to do one next month in April. In the past, we've attended the Atlanta Pen Show. We're not going to be going to the Atlanta Pen Show this year. And we've allocated kind of all of the stuff that we had for that will be kind of sold via the KVC in lieu of going to the Atlanta Pen Show. So you can mark your calendars. I don't have a specific date for that. G and I are going to kind of nail down the specifics on that. I think I'm going to ask her. It's her baby, so she's going to run it. But I'll get, as soon as she gives me the date, I'll put it in the email, and then they'll start posting it on social media as well. So you can look forward to that coming in April, another KVC. And then the next actual pen show that we're going to be attending, Bill, will be at the Chicago Pen Show, which I believe is at the end of May. So that's kind of like the next 2 or 3 months in terms of like special stuff that we're going to be doing. We have a bunch of, I have a whole bunch of the polycarbonate transparent Vertex grip sections that we just got finished machining. We'll be putting those together. So they'll be available nonstop for on our website with corresponding with whatever Vertex options we have available. Should have some Cerakote Vertexes back in a couple weeks. So the first new colors of Cerakote Vertexes will be available. And I'm hoping that Bill can start machining some new resin Vertexes in the next, like, boy, I'd love to see them in the next like 30 to 60 days, at least start to get machined. The machining, the manufacturing run on the aluminum Vertexes, which we've been out of stock. I haven't had any to send out for anything in like over a year. And so Josh is wrapping up the manufacturing run on the aluminum Vertexes now, but I'm hoping that they can go straight into production on some resin because they have a whole bunch of material in the back. Like, I think we have, boy, probably I'm gonna hazard a guess and say we have probably like, I think there's 10 or 15 colors in bulk, like of different resin, acrylic, and some, I think there might be even some cellulose back there, enough to make 40 or like 50 to 100 pens, depending on the size of the batches, the rods, some of the rod links, and a bunch of different stuff back there already that we bought a long time ago and kind of just haven't, we haven't, it's a total different setup to do resin Vertexes. So they have to tear down the machines and then set it all back up. So there were a lot of, but those were like the ones that we'd already released. They were either ones we'd already released or the ones that were at the Baltimore show were onesies and twosies that we had remaining from the stuff that we poured. So I would like to get some new stuff, some new colors, some stuff that we haven't done before. And we have a bunch of the rod stock that we have back there are all new colors or similar to what we've released in the past, but like different. I don't know, similar color ways, but like instead of swirls, they're chips, or instead of chips, they're swirls, stuff like that. So there's a decent amount of stuff back there that we could put out. We just have to have the time to do it. So that's hopefully coming. All right. That's kind of all I have to talk about. Like my focus has been totally diverted into, not totally diverted. I have reallocated all of my brain space, not all of it. Again, I apologize. I have reallocated 80% of my brain space and my days into the new pen and the new website where we're going to launch the basic. So that's been taking up most of my time. And so the 20% that's not over there is basically planning out releases for Karis Customs, writing the newsletters, making sure that our current website is functional, stuff like that. So I would say we're 98% complete on the production run of the basic. And we're about 25% complete on the new website. For where we're going to launch the basic at. Do we still anodize pens? Yeah, Zach, the two of the pens that I showed today are anodized. The gray pen and the olive pen are both anodized. So those are anodized aluminum. And we do anodized releases of all of our pens. We don't just do Cerakote. What was I going to say? And a bunch of the Vertexes will have anodized versus Cerakote. we'll curate some of the vertexes in that way. So I've kind of been really focused on developing a new site and the way that it looks, and then, which is difficult in and of itself, while at the same time so I guess we'll talk about, let's do a Q. We'll go into the Q&A now. See if you guys have questions. We can answer some questions. We'll do the Q&A now, and then at the end, after the Q&A is over, I'll kind of cover the basic a little bit more. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask them now. If you just jumped into the live stream recently, like every single week, at the top of the page, at the top of the chat is the Google form to sign up for the giveaway. All the information on the giveaway is in there. We're going to choose 2 winners. They'll have a chance to choose from whichever one they want of the pictured photos that's on the Google form. So please fill that out so you can get entered. We'll do the drawing at the end of the live stream, like we always do. Okay, so now since I got that out of the way, let's segue into the official Q&A, and you can launch your questions at me. How much did the 99 pen holder cost? Let me see. I know that we initially sold it for less than. Unfortunately, the first 8 of them that sold ended up being, after we calculated the shipping cost, ended up being less than we didn't make any money on them. I don't think we broke even on them. The cost on those is $599. So going forward, it'll be $599. I'm pretty sure that includes shipping in the United States for that product. It would have before. Hopefully, it still does. If we do them again, it will be they'll be priced at about that price at $599. Well, I can't say that for sure. All things being equal, as of the price of aluminum right now, if aluminum does not dramatically increase in cost, the cost of that will be $599 if we make them again. If it goes up for whatever reason, we'll likely have to adjust above that. But that's probably what it is right now. Can you please explain level 1 versus level 2 Cerakote color? Okay. So that the level 1 versus the level 2 is specifically something that we're doing just for like any of the distressed pens that we've done. So here's the explanation. When a pen is sent out for Cerakote, and our Cerakote applicator does the distressed finish on them, specific with the steampunk ones, the initial coat that he puts down is like a complete coat of a full coat of the burnt bronze color. Then he takes the pens, and they're cured for 30 minutes. In, I think it's 375 in the oven for 375 for like 30 minutes. Then he takes them out and he sprays them in, I forget what color it is. I thought it was sniper gray. It's not sniper gray. It's like combat black or something like that. It's like a very like dusty matte black. He sprays them really lightly, like a mist over the pens. not complete coverage, just randomly over the pins. And then they're put in a separate oven, a low temp oven. I think it's like 275 or 250. And he basically, in between 8 and 12 minutes, he starts checking them to feel how tacky the surface of the pin is, of that coat is. Graphite black, there you go. He starts filling them. He'll open it up. He'll test one to see how tacky it is, because he's looking for a specific feel of it. It needs to be partially annealed, but not too far through the process. Otherwise, it takes a ton for them to remove that black. The closer, the more tacky it is before he takes it off. So like closer to the 8-minute mark, the more he can remove, and the easier it is for him to remove. So I think most of ours take about 12 minutes. Then he takes them out, and then he uses acetone and Scotch-Brite and starts stripping away by hand the black, the graphite black that's partially annealed, partially baked onto the surface. For level 1, almost all of the black is taken off, and it's just very light, almost like a shadow of black is left. It's more visible in some of like in the ones that have big dings and dents, like inside of those dings and dents, they'll be like the black will still show. But almost on the surface of the rest of the pin, the flat surface, the black is almost completely removed. A level 2, he doesn't go, he lets it anneal a little bit longer, so it's harder to take off. And then he begins stripping it off and leaves the black on the surface as well. There'll be like streaks of black on the surface, as well as filling any of like the nicks and dings. So there's more of the black distressing the bronze on a level 2 than there is on a level 1. Level 1, more of the bronze will show through, and the black will only be really visible in the dents. And the bronze will be slightly darkened. The overall color of the bronze itself will be a little bit darker than a fresh coat of burnt bronze, but not much. So that's the difference between the two. We have photos of them available side by side, of the level 1 and the level 2. I don't know. I'll try to put one back up, or I can email it to you. So that's kind of the best way that I can describe it. That's literally what he does. It takes him about 10 to 15 minutes to distress a pen, I think is what he told me. And then it goes back in the oven and fully cures. So then it goes back in the oven, he leaves it in for long, and then it's fully cured. So it's a time-consuming process, but more than that is it requires a lot of his actual, like, he actually has to physically do it to take it off. Like, there's no process where you can just dip them in something to acid etch it off, or there's no way to automate that process that he has available to him. He has to do it all by hand. Hey, Jay Bright, it's your birthday as well as my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday. 2 birthdays on Pi Day. Nice. Okay, next on. Looking for an 8K. I'm hoping we can do some more 8Ks in the future. I know Bill and I have talked about it a couple times. We keep circling around the 4K and the 8K. The only 8Ks that I currently have, we have some... I'm trying to think which ones we have. I think I only have like a couple of the raw tumbled aluminum 8Ks. I'm actually going to send some 8Ks out for Cerakote. So if you want to vote on what color to get a because I have like, I think I have 15 8Ks in the back that are there. They can't be anodized, but they can be Cerakote. Like the surface finish on them can be covered the wear on the surface of them can be covered by Cerakote, but it won't be covered by anodized. So I can Cerakote them. So I got 10 or 15 of them I'm going to send out for Cerakote the next time we send some Cerakote stuff out. So if you have a color of Cerakote that you'd like to see on an 8K that we release in the next little bit, let me know. I could use 3 mega cubes, but we'll stick with just one. That's right, you do have one. I've pared my collection down, and I don't have enough pens any longer to require a mega cube. So yeah, it's kind of weird to me that the Vertex and ink don't fit the cubes without binding. Yeah, well, that part of the reason with that is, so there's a twofold reason for that. The first is the cube is not our original design. The cube is a collaboration. It is our interpretation of the Dudek Modern Goods cube, which has a dramatically smaller hole even than what we put in our cubes. And then the other reason is we did a bunch of random pen research on pen diameters across the spectrum. And the majority of them fit in this size, and a few of the outliers were the large diameter fountain pens, the ink being one of them, and the Vertex did not exist when we made the cube. The ink had barely been released when we made the cube. And we had never really, at that time, we'd never considered making plastic pens. So it was just like, well, if it fits and it's snug, like the ink, it's a metal pen. It doesn't matter. It's not going to scratch on Delrin, and it won't. And realistically, like, the Delrin should not scratch any of your plastic pens either, especially now. The Delrin inserts that we're using are molded. They're not even machined, so the inside of them are completely smooth. All of the molding lines are on the parts that don't touch the pen ever. They're on basically the outside, which is what is against the aluminum of the insert of the sleeve. So, but yeah. I just want the 9M cube because it makes me laugh. I mean, I get it. A lot of people ordered it because it was like, oh my gosh. No, you don't have to talk about, like, by all means, Hiram, don't hold your comments to just pens. We're not just a pen manufacturer. We're talking about the cube right now. I would love for us to do another set or do another run of the salt and pepper shakers. I would like for us to kind of redesign them a little bit. And I don't know, like, it's something that Bill and I talk about, if not every year, every like 18 months or so, we talk about that. And it's possible we could do that in the future. It realistically is. Like, I think depending on our prototyping schedule, like sneaking in an updated version of those is something that we could potentially do. So fingers crossed. I'd like to see them again too. I think they were really cool. People ask about them frequently. So frequently enough that I think we could sell them again. So ultra black modal with the scale grip. Yeah, I think we released some of those, but I think we're sold out. I will have to do some more of the ultra black dragons. The scale grip, like the purple or the blue. I have just enough scale pens left to do one more color. So if you're saying you want the ultra black, I guess we could swing it for the ultra black, because I have just enough to do one batch. When will the cube be available in colors? I honestly, Vid, I don't know when we'll have cubes again. We covered this last month, but I'll cover it again. The mill, we have 2 mills that we use for, well, that's not true. We have 1 mill that we use for cube production. And it's been completely taken up by job shop work. So business to business work that we have with companies that we've had since Bill opened. We've had a ton of work go through there recently, like nonstop. So that's the reason we are currently out of stock on the cubes. In terms of anodized colors, it is highly unlikely that we will have any colors in anodized for cubes outside of matte black and natural type 3, which is a grayish color. And that is because the last time we sent cubes for anodize, which was about, I don't know, about 12 to 16 months ago, of the 120 pens we got back for anodize, we sent over there for anodize, we had 60, less than 60 sellable anodized cubes that came back because they cannot anodize cubes and keep the outside looking the way that it needs to. So it was we can do black, we can do matte black, we can do the type 2 gray, type 3 gray, type 3 natural, which is gray, and we can do Cerakote colors, and that's basically the options for colored cubes that we'll pursue in the future. Standard aesthetic type 2 anodized, we have paused once again for the foreseeable future. We just can't eat that cost. It's just not something we can do. Metal alloy wallet. We've talked about doing a wallet in the past. The problem, that's not a problem. The issue that we've run into realistically is there's like 5 or 6 different local manufacturers of metal wallets. And there's hundreds of manufacturers of metal wallets across the entire spectrum of, you've got all those, the Ridge, and I forget all the different names of them. There's one that starts with an E, and there's one that starts with a K, and there's, and they're as simple or as complex as you want them to be. And most of them are not being manufactured in the United States. That's why they can sell them for as cheap as they are, because we've looked into making them. And even like increasing the like production by having a lot of the heavy lifting done through water jet or laser cut, still doesn't decrease the price that much once you figure in assembly and all that stuff. So I don't know that it's not out of the realm of possibility. We continue to talk about wallets. I just don't know if it's going to happen. So I don't know. There it is. There's the Zerk. Pocket modals in Delrin. The Pen Club has 2 pocket modals in Delrin right now, a white and a black that are available. If they're not available on the website, it's because they're just temporarily out of stock. I have some actually built, a black one and a white one. So, the scale grip was literally just an experiment. We had the purple bolts. I think I have some at Cerakote. I don't know what they're going to be used for. And then the last batch that I'll do as modals. So a Karis letter opener would be nice. Oh, my current pesky exhibit A tax. I don't know. We could do I don't know if we would do a letter opener or not. We might. I used the I used the tie bar as a letter opener for a long time, so we could potentially do that. Excuse me. Eric, if you're in the pen club, they should be on the pen club page. If they're not, shoot me an email and I'll take care of you. So my favorite pocket knife, I don't know what my favorite pocket knife is. I'm not a super huge knife nerd. My dad, before he passed away, every single year would buy my brother and I like a new knife. So I have like numerous Benchmades and CRKTs and Spydercos with my name on them that he had custom engraved that he gave us. Really nice knives. Like I think a couple of the different Benchmades are like extremely like sought after, like the scale combinations, colors of them. When I buy a knife for myself, I end up buying stuff that's relatively inexpensive. So this is what I carry on a day-to-day basis. It's just like a liner lock. This is a Kaiser with the G10, green G10 handles. And I have a smaller Kaiser with a Tanto blade that has red micarta handles on it that I carry sometimes. But if you look close enough, the blade this is my box opening knife because of all the Amazon packages. So it's got like tons and tons of like, I need to clean it with some alcohol. But this is probably the knife. I had another one of these that had tan scales on it and I lost it somewhere. I don't know. It came off of my pants, so. Yeah, just shoot me an email, Eric, for what you're looking for, and I'll see if I can get to it this week. I'll get to it this week. No, I put it away. I put it away, so my knife is away. All right. What kind of things do you need? I'm trying to read what you said. Need out about aside from pens? Do you need? My brain's not working. Pens and bourbon. Clarify your question, Eric. All right, let's. The Dragon Skin grip feels fantastic on. Do I nerd out on? Nerd out on. Okay. What other kind of things do I nerd out on outside of pens and bourbon? Let's see. I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, the scale grip, the new one that's on the purple one, Rambo, John, the one we just released on the purple bolt the other day. If you mean that one, I don't know which ones I have out at Cerakote. They're great. That's not true. I have some modals in a brand new color. I'm just waiting on clips. And then I'll have some ultra black modals with the scale on them. So we'll do some ultra black stuff with those because those will probably sell pretty good. Okay, what other kind of stuff do I nerd out outside of pens and bourbon? Not just bourbon. I like whiskey of all kinds and cocktails. I like cocktails are just interesting to me in terms of like how they're made and crafted, and I don't drink them very often. Like every once in a while, I'll make myself a cocktail, or if I'm out somewhere, I'll try a cocktail that I think sounds good. But it's like science and food, like recipes and stuff. So that's interesting to me. I don't necessarily nerd out on pens as much as I did in the past. I do nerd out on whiskey. Board games. I love a good board game. I'm a big board game person. Um, I'm a nerd about the car that I currently own. Like, I'm not a car guy per se. Like, I like old cars. I haven't had a lot of different cars. I've had multiple cars, and now I have a specific. Like, I have a Mazda. I've had 3 Mazdas now. I'm completely bought into the Mazda architecture. Like, I love it absolutely. I'll never unless the whole company goes completely downhill. I'll never own another manufacturer. Like, um, I love my car. My wife has a Mazda. My daughter has a Mazda. My mom has a Mazda and they've all purchased them since I bought my first one like 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm a nerd about that, but it's not like I don't like trick it out or anything like that. I don't do any kind of mods or anything crazy with my car. I think it's the most fun to drive car that I've ever owned, and it goes fast. Like, it goes as fast as I want it to go and faster than I want it to go. And so I'm not going to get into dangerous territory. And it's nice. It's really super nice. So, what else do I nerd out on? TV shows. I'm a foodie. Like, I'm totally a food. Like, not to the sense of being like pretentious about it. Like, I love like basic, really good basic food. Like, I love an omelet. I love a burrito. I love tacos. Like, I love simple food too. Like, but like, if given the opportunity to eat like really nice food and kind of like dissect it and take it in, I'm all about it. That's the same with TV shows. I'm not as much into movies as I used to be. Like, I love a television show as opposed to a movie. So, I look like a Jeep guy. I know I look like a Jeep guy, but I am not a Jeep guy. I'm a Mazda dude. My first Mazda my first personal Mazda was a Mazda CX, was a 2019 Mazda CX-5. My dad, growing up, had a Mazda 323 and multiple 626s back in the 80s and in the 90s. My current car, I have a Mazda CX-70, so I have the larger one. My wife has a Mazda CX-50. My daughter has a used 2016 CX-5. So, yeah, I've owned a ton of Mazdas, but the current generation of Mazdas is amazing. The value, the car that you get for the price that you're paying, like, you're not going to find anything on the market similar to it. And my wife, like, comes from a huge, like, they're all Toyota people which is fine. Like, Toyota's amazing manufacturer, like, great cars, they last for forever. Mazda's like vastly, like, more fun to drive, like, nicer to sit in. So anyway, all right, let's see. Knowing the modal and bolt have the same bottom part and the pocket modal and EDK have the same bottom part makes me very happy knowing that I can mix it. You can mix and match to your heart's content. The bolt and the modal, swap them out however you want. EDK, pocket modal, swap them out however you want. We did that specifically. It's kind of one of the things that we're talking about in terms of a lot of the pens that we have moving forward. And the retract and the EDK have the same top part, so you can swap those back and forth too. All right. Yeah, working a Mazda dealer. Yep. All right. I get it. Land Cruisers are amazing. I want leather interior, and I don't want to have to pay an arm and a leg extra for it. Like, my car has amazing leather interior. The inside of my car is, I don't know. It's as close to luxury. It's as close to luxury, if not luxury, without paying a huge price tag for. I love the fact that I have a ton of horsepower. Like, I don't know. So I geek out over that. Like, I'm a huge nerd. Like, so I love sci-fi and fantasy and role-playing games and, like, all that stuff. All the nerdy stuff that you can think of. If you can plug me into the nerd, like the traditional nerds, if you can think of a nerd thing, the traditional stuff, plug me in there. Like chances are I've either like done it or do it like outside of like the like Ren Fair stuff. Like I've never like been a Ren Fair performer or anything like that, but I've gone to a bunch of them, and so I've done all that stuff. All right, so we're at 4:00. I want to get in a little bit about the basic and talk a little bit about it because I said I would kind of talk on it before we left. As much as I'm comfortable talking about the basic, because we're still, I think if I was closer to knowing when we were actually going to launch it, I would talk about it in more like specifics than now. The basic is going to be like, I think the tagline, or unofficial or official tagline, is basically, you know what, instead of like fumbling around with it, I'm just going to read what I have already written down. That way, I don't say something and people are like, well, that's not, we'll just read it. I'll read it word for word if I can find it. Might be on my other computer. Sweet, it's not on my computer. So I'm not going to read exactly what it is because it's on the other computer. I'll try to paraphrase. Oh, no, it's here. This is the philosophy behind the pen. I don't know if we talked about this last month. I'm just going to read the first paragraph, or some of the first paragraph of this release, because this is going to go out probably within the next week or so anyway. Prompted by a desire to return to the fundamentals of machined rollerball pens that we established in 2011, Keras Custom is announcing a new arm of the company, Everyday Keras, which we've used in the past. We're officially like launching it as its own sub-brand. Everyday Keras' philosophy is redefining the durable tool for everyday carry use with a return to the basic fundamentals of function and design. Designs will take a step back from complexity to focus more fully on function and value. Everyday Keras products will feature fewer parts in an effort to streamline the manufacturing process, maximize the efficiency of our CNC machines, and provide a product that is as failure-free as possible and requires minimal maintenance. Minimalism and simplicity are not the goal. Rather, a return to our initial design language and processes will shape the products and the product categories Everyday Keras focuses on. And with that in mind, the flagship release for the Everyday Keras brand is the forthcoming Basic, a rollerball pen designed, manufactured, and priced with the intention of being carried in the pocket or purse of everyone that uses a pen. So the idea is like, the idea is, if you save $1 a day, you can buy a pen in less than a month. Because one of the main things that we kept hearing was, I really like your guys' pens. I can't afford a $40 pen when your pens are on sale 50% off, or a $35 pen when your pens are on 50% or $70 pens. So our goal is to have a price point that comes in under $30. And so the Basic will be priced at $29 in order to be in as many pockets as possible. That's the goal. It's the goal for you to skip 4 trips to Starbucks and you can buy a pen. And it's not a plastic pen. It's not a pen made in another country. It's not a pen that has a clicker that's going to fail in 4 weeks. It's a pen that if you never buy a pen again, the only thing you will have to replace on it is going to be the refill. That's it. That's all you have to do. If you lose a spring, you'll need to replace a spring. But the idea behind it is this pen is going to be a pen that if somebody says, "Oh, I really like your fancy pens," but then you tell them how much they are, like you show them a modal, and they're like, "Oh man, you spend $70 on a pen, or $80 on a pen, or $150 on a pen." You can be like, "Yeah, but the same company that makes a $150 pen also makes a $29 pen." So that's the goal. Like, we're not making it, we're not outsourcing it. It's not being made in a factory in Taiwan. It's not being outsourced to another company to fulfill the manufacturing on. We're making it on our machines. The same machines that are making the modal is making the basic. The only thing that we have done is simplify the architecture, change the finishes. It's only going to be available at that price point in a specifically designed tumbled aluminum finish. So, but at the same time, it's a single piece pen. So it's not 2 pieces that has it functions different. And so we're calling it a canvas. Like, the basic is a canvas. And this initial release of the basic is going to have its design. And then the next version, that's going to be they're going to have numericals. So the first one's going to be 001. The 002 will have a different look machining wise than the 001 did, because it's a single piece of aluminum that we've added texture to, we've added design to, and every single one of them is going to be slightly different than the last one. So it's a canvas that we can paint on, quote unquote, customize via manufacturing externally. So that's kind of the reflection. No, you can't actually. I don't have any images of it. If you paid really attention, I don't know if Tommy actually posted it. I did a video talking about the live stream, and if you pay attention to the live stream, there's a photo there. It's in that YouTube video that I did of the live stream. Let's see here. I wanted to make sure that day went by any pictures of the pen. A launch edition. So I don't think we'll have a launch edition. We're just going to have the initial version of it. The 001 is going to be the first one. I sent some to reviewers today. There are surprisingly far few reviewers of pens now than there were 8 years ago. All right. You'll get the sneak peek. We'll go ahead and show it off since I have it right here. This is the pen. This is the basic. This is the prototype basic. It's one piece. It has a knob on it like a standard style bolt action pen. This piece doesn't require any tools. You don't need extra tools to take it apart. You can just unscrew it with your thumb and your forefinger, and it comes out. And then you remove this Delrin slider, and you can remove the refill. And then this goes right back. You put the slider in. You take your button, knob, whatever the heck you want to call it, It has one side that's recessed, the other side you can't screw it in. And then you thread it back together. And that's it. It doesn't bump out as much as a bunch of other pens, but it's going to be out a little bit. It has some texture on the surface of it to make it a little bit grippier. The surface does have those same like ribs that I was talking about earlier, but every different version is going to be different than externally. So like not all of them are going to have this design feature or this design feature. They're going to generally look the same. It's standardized for the G2 refill. That is a Pilot Precise V5, which will work in there, but it's standardized and will ship with a Pilot G2 refill. There is not another pen on the market that functions like this that's less than $40 that I could find. Especially one that's actually made in America. I don't follow every single manufacturer of pens. I know a lot of them. I know Bastion, I know Refine, I know like all of these different ones that make a similar pen. A lot of them don't make them out of aluminum. They only make them out of more premium materials, or they use premium surface finishes to try to like slightly elevate their cost because they're having them done overseas, or they're having them done in batches of like 10,000 pens. So that I could find, there's not a US manufacturer of a pen like this that's pricing it this low. Now we can't wholesale this pen. There's not going to be any sales on this pen. The price will not get reduced. Mind you, $29 in the United States includes shipping. Includes shipping in the United States. So you can get this. If you live in Arizona, you're going to pay more than this because we charge tax on our website than if you live in another state. So if you live in California and you buy this pen, it will be $29 with USPS ground advantage shipping, and you will get it for $29 shipped to your door. There's no extra shipping cost. So yeah, that's basically what it is right there. We won't even have written instructions for this. Like legitimately, we can animate or like draw cartoons on how to disassemble and reassemble this pen. That's how easy it is to remove the refill and reinstall the refill. So yeah. So that's the idea behind the basic. The reason that we're doing it on a completely different website, so I'll go into that now. The reason we're launching a different website is that the entire focus of the sub-brand Everyday Cares is going to be with this same mindset. It's going to look different. It's going to function different. There's not going to be drop downs to select. So I'll just circle back. One of the things that we consistently get, of the feedback we consistently get with our current website and with our previous websites and with our pens in general is they're relatively complex in terms of like how to purchase them. How do I find what I'm looking for? You know, I was referred to your site and I want this style of pen, but I don't know what I'm getting. I don't know whether, do I actually want the bolt, or do I want the modal, or do I want to retract? People that don't know a lot of pens have a hard time navigating our website. People like you that are here that buy pens, that own a lot of pens, that have a mega cube's worth of pens, that doesn't stop you from buying. A lot of people hit the Karas Pen Co. website, and within 2 or 3 minutes, they're overwhelmed with the amount of choices because decision fatigue is a thing, or they don't understand because we have not done a good enough job in having an easily accessible reference point of saying, hey, if you like this, if this is what you write with, and this is what you're going to want to buy of ours. We've attempted to do it in the past, and it just gets more and more complex as we add more and more products. And because we don't want that to stop the purchase of this pen, we are launching a sub-brand. The mindset behind the Render K, the original pen we made, was, hey, we want a durable pen that anybody can carry that takes a simple refill that people, that is not complex. They just want to upgrade and carry a pen that they're not going to destroy and throw away and throw in the trash. That's the same thing with this. It's the same thing with the Basic. So the Basic is at that, and Everyday Keras is going to be that. So the website's going to be super easy to navigate. There's going to be very few products on it, even when we have multiple different Basics available. We have 3 or 4 or 5 of them potentially. Hopefully we sell out. We're only making a certain volume of this initial release. Once this one is gone, I don't know when we'll come back to this design feature. We may in the future. We're not saying we're not going to. It's not officially a limited edition, but it is a limited run. We're only capping this version with this design, with this skin, if you want to call it, at a certain number. And once those are sold out, the next one, the Basic 002, will have a different look than this. It will function the same, and it will be priced the same if it's aluminum. So we want that experience to be something that when a person comes to the Everyday Keras website, they're not overwhelmed with choices. They're provided, hey, this is the pen, this is the price, you can one-click buy it. That's it. It explains what it is, it explains how it functions. It's not like, oh, do I want it in blue, or do I want it in brass, or do I really want this one, or do I want this one? Well, maybe I don't want that one, maybe I want this one. Well, but now do I really want to buy something that's $90 because I want the brass upgrade? Well, let me go look and see what other brass pens are available. Maybe I could get better pricing if I look at a brass pen that somebody else makes. That's the mindset of people that don't follow us, don't buy our pens. Frequently in the past has been feedback that we have received about the purchasing process on our website. And it's the same thing when I go to buy stuff and I'm like not into that hobby or I'm looking for something new. I do a lot of research. I look around. What do I want? What are the reviews? Do I want it in blue or do I want it in red? So to make it as everybody in this chat, it's accessible to you already in its most simplistic form. And it's priced at a price that you're already willing to spend on a pen that is a buy it for life, lifetime warranty. This is going to carry the same warranty as all the rest of our pens. So you're already bought in. The look and the feel and the function of the website is not going to detract you from purchasing it. But people that you might tell, hey, go to this website, Everyday Keras, it's far more simple for them to go to it, read the about, understand how it functions, and then go, oh, it's $29. Great, I'll buy it. Perfect. So we want you to buy it, and there will be opportunities down the road to potentially have versions that are a little bit more expensive that have anodize that will probably only be sold to Pen Club members or Keras Penco members or people that want that type of thing. But the majority of it is going to be raw, it's going to be like this type of pen, aluminum, and priced at this price point. Because that's what we're going for. So hopefully that doesn't, we don't want to push anybody away with the release of this pen. The idea of this pen is to bring more people away from disposable pens and into having this pen in their pocket. That's the whole that's one of the goals around it. So let me catch up on the comments. There's a bunch of stuff. I don't think they understand. Those options are sometimes better. Yep, I need to. Okay, so when does the website launch? I've been working 80% of my time, like I said, is the new website. I'm about 20 to 25% in on the new website. There's a Facebook page set up for Everyday Keras that has just minimal stuff on it. it will be fleshed out quicker than the website does. So if you want to follow Everyday Karis on Facebook, if you are on Facebook, you can follow us there. As far as the website goes and the launch of the product goes, I'm working as fast as I can. I was working on it with our developer earlier today during the live stream. He called me just now to get the plugins fixed and the back end running, and I'm working on adding photos and changing text and making sure that the menus function properly and doing and about us, all that stuff, all the branding. Coming up with a new sub-brand as well as a new product is a ton of branding, a ton of marketing, and that's all inside my head. Like, that's all the stuff that I have to do on top of building the website and planning product for Karis Customs and every like right now all of these things are in my brain. So it's going to take a little bit longer. I don't have a specific time frame we don't have a specific time frame for the launch. It is relatively soon. I'm hoping that it's less than 30 days away. If I can work as quickly as possible, it's between like 15 and 45 days. 45 days at the max, and that's if like we run into issues. It's hopefully closer to 15 days than 45 days. Or if not, it's like right in between, and we're like mid-month of April, we're launching the website. That's my goal. We still have to get photos, we have to get videos. We're going to add some historic collection images. Other product that we've released in the past that fits that same mindset may be resurrected under that brand. Like the tie bar, the titanium pry bar. Like, we may put that on Everyday Karis instead of having it on Karis Customs in the future. Because the whole idea behind the brand is going to be pens that are this, but not just pens, just like Everyday Karis, everyday carry stuff that's manufactured in the United States, that's priced now, I don't want to use the even term used competitively. It's priced for your pocket. We want our product in your pocket. We're going to price it for your pocket because we can, if we can manufacture it and sell it to you at that price, that's what we're going to do over there. It's going to look a little different. It'll be a little bit more simplistic. It'll be, I don't want to say rougher on the edges, more basic, more like what we were doing in 2011 when we designed our first pen than what we're doing now, with a lot of customizations and a lot of, it looks this way and it functions this way. And, and the goal is to eventually have a basic fountain pen over there, like something that is as customer friendly as possible, as pocket friendly as possible over there. Like, we're actively thinking about that. And so that's kind of how we're doing the Everyday Karis mindset. It's Karis Pen Co., the brand, is where it is because we kind of, along with 2 or 3 other manufacturers, built the ecosystem of metal pens and built in the pricing and built in the, this is the way that it's going to look. This is the way it's going to function. And the Everyday Karis is kind of a different thing. It's a different mindset now because of, the brands are they're similar and they're the same company, but they have a different philosophy, I think, when you really nail down on it. So that's why it's like that. Okay, so let's get caught up. We're at the hour and a half mark almost. Cheap when it comes to rollerball. That's a great term. All right. So anyway, you got a lot more information than I was initially initially willing to give, but I think we're far closer to launch than we even were like a week ago. So it's kind of why I went ahead and showed it off and talked through it. And we'll probably post up some photos on the Pen Club page. So All right. I want to get to the giveaway. So if you haven't completed the giveaway, please do that. Because I'm gonna do the giveaway here in a couple seconds. If you have any other questions, you can add them. You can ask them, and I'll kind of glance back and forth while I sort through everybody's. Let's see here. All right. You'll have to rewind, Zach. I did actually show the pen. All right, so we'll do that. We'll randomize the list 3 times. Ready to resort the list. Jim, technically the live stream, as I've always considered it, is technically the second Friday. If it gets bumped to a different Friday, it's either, most of the time it's because there's something conflicting on my schedule personally. The last time we bumped it was because the KVC was on the day I would normally do the live stream. But usually you can set it for being the second Friday of the month. Honestly, David, if that happens, so David said, for anybody who's like not looking at the chat, who watches this later, David says, I think you're going to sell the pens out before you even get them to the people that wanted to make them, for we're probably all going to buy them. So like basically the people on our current mailing list are going to buy them. We've made a lot of them. We've made way more of we've made a lot of them. But we haven't made more than we have people on our current mailing list. Not even close to it. And if that happens, that may very well be what happens. In which case, we will immediately go into production on 002. The only reason we're not going in production on 002 right now is because it's a brand new product. And if the first ones don't sell out in 30 days, we'll push back the second release a little bit. But if the first ones sell out immediately, if this sells out on launch, I would imagine the next day that Josh is available to reprogram the machine to do a second version with new features on the outside, he will tool up for that soon. So that's an issue if that specific design feature is something you want. If you want these style of rings, which is basically halfway through our grooves and halfway between our grooves and halfway between dragon skin. They're like chamfered grooves. If you wanted this one and this one is sold out and the next one has like flutes or something on it that go all down the whole side, like that could be, something we could run into. But the idea is if we sell out, we're in the manufacturing process on the next one, and they're not out of stock for very long. So, yes, Jim. the idea is that they'll change slightly or dramatically. Like this one has these chamfered grooves here, and then a design feature that is a smaller version of that same thing around right where the next one could be like, just flutes along the sides, or it could be like a corkscrew type thing, or it could be, frag, or it could be, hex shapes or whatever. It could be anything. Like the whole thing is like, it's a blank slate. Every single version is basically it allows Josh to start the process from scratch, and whatever's fresh in his mind, and be like, oh, I want, like the scale bolt thing that we just released. Maybe he wants to do one of these that has the overlapping scales that go down at, like 6 inches or something. And because it's one piece, he can go further down if he wants to, or not as far down. So it's kind of like, like I said, it's a canvas. And this version that you're seeing here is the first skin, or the first painting to be applied to the basic canvas, for lack of a better word. So yeah, the goal is in fact to have numerous different versions. All right, so I've run the giveaway. Yeah, well, we could do that, but the whole idea is to make it as simple as possible. So the way that I came up with it was, after we came up with the basic was actually not the first name that we were going to use for this pen. That's the second name that we came up with for this pen. The first name is actually a version of it is already used for a pen. So we switched it to the basic because it was very similar. And then once we realized, hey, this is going to be like a skin, we have to come up with an identifier. It was just like, the triple digit .001, .002, .003 in terms of just like making it easy and simple, and for us to be able to refer to and have, in our records, was just the easiest thing to do, instead of coming up with different names for all of them or different signifiers or whatever. So that's why we're going to do that. All right. Do we plan on doing customs? Not in the near future. Though, yeah. So, all right. I've run the giveaway. The winners are Nathan Kelso and J Bright KY. So, happy birthday. I swear, honestly, like I could show you turn my thing over here. I wonder, do we still have it? Is it here on 3? No, it's not on 3. Okay. I don't have it set up anymore. I used to have one set up where I could switch to like the screenshot. So, all right. Nathan and Jay, send me an email, paul@karascustoms.com, with your shipping information and which one of those you want. You don't have to not pick the same one. I have enough for if you both pick the same one, it's fine. So you guys twisted my arm into giving away more information than I wanted to, but I kind of felt like that was the way it was going. And we're pretty far along the process, so I feel more comfortable. I feel a lot more comfortable like giving. I don't feel like I'm giving away any trade secrets or anything like that. Like, this information is going to be out there in the short term. Like, I don't know how quickly some of the reviewers will have information out. I'm not telling that they can. They have free reign to post it as quickly as they want to, or to not post it at all, like not do a review of it at all. So they'll have the pens in by Monday. Many of them will have them by Monday. The rest of them will have them by Tuesday. I think there's 1 or 2 reviewers that are not in the United States, and they'll have them in 5 or 6 days. Hopefully I explained the information as best I could, and you all understood. Yeah, Nathan, you can put whatever you need to put in the email, send it to, just put it all together. With that, chances are the official, the actual official release with all the information that breaks everything down, that's, step by step, kind of covers all the stuff that I rambled on about, will be up or out next week. Definitely will be up or out to the Pen Club members in a like a PDF format type thing that they can read through. I've been working on that portion of it for like a week now. No, not for a week now, for like a month now. Actually, right after the live stream ended here, I had some other people look at it and read it, and I have one or two other people that I need to proofread it. But that informational release will go out to the Pen Club members next week for sure. Probably be out via our newsletter sometime in the next week or so. So you would have seen it in the next week anyway, or not seen the pen necessarily, but definitely had the information about it. All right, I don't really have very much. We've gone for an hour and a half. I need some of this. Had some good stuff. Yeah, buddy. That's exactly what you need on a Friday at 4:30. Any final questions before we shut shut things down? The plan on doing customs, I don't know. Have a great weekend, Retro. I don't know how to answer that. Like, customs is not like, it's not in terms of like customizing. If somebody came to us and asked to do a custom version of it in like large quantities and they wanted to purchase all of them, we would absolutely do it. If that's the question, we would absolutely do, like, consider that and give that person, here's the pricing, like here's the type of customization we could do, if that's what you mean. So yeah, this is my work whiskey glass. My at-home whiskey glass is a Viski glass. So with a V, I think it's Viski. I am drinking this Sagamore Spirits Cask Strength 112 proof rye from the great state of Maryland. It is one of my all-time favorite ryes. Incredible rye. So if you're in Baltimore, they distribute on in most states anyway. So like it's available here in Total Wine, and I know they have a wide distribution, so you should be able to find it in a lot of states. It's definitely one of it's a bourbon drinker's rye. It's a great rye. It is. And for the price, it's very pocket friendly as well, like comparatively speaking. Like their 7-year rye is, a lot of 7-year ryes are $100 or over. Sagamore's 7-year rye, like you can get store picks of it for $50 or $60. And they're way better than a lot of other 7-year rye that's on the market. So I highly recommend it. I call it a bourbon drinker's rye. It's less dill and peppermint and more like baking spices and deep, rich caramels and burnt sugars, stuff like that. So, all right, we're going to shut it down. I have food to make for my wife, has a thing that she's doing, and she asked for my help, so I'm going to help her in a couple hours before I get on to the rest of my own work. I'm probably going to work later tonight. I need to work on the website. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. Hopefully you got a bunch of information. Start spreading the news that there's going to be a new pen on the market, and it's going to be, everybody's going to want to buy it. Okay? You're the first line of defense or offense or pen fence or whatever. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here as always. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, paul@karascustoms.com. You can post comments on after this below on the YouTube, on the YouTube video, the live stream, or any of the other places you can contact me. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around, and we'll probably do an actual live stream. I think we're gonna do an actual live stream when the basic launches. So like, I'm gonna do a live stream and I'm gonna click launch, boom, and the site's gonna go live. So timed live stream, we go live, talking about it, showing off stuff, talking about all that nonsense. So you can plan on that potentially being an extra to next month's live stream. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's good to be here. Fun times. Take it easy.